You know, which to me is one more thing that reiterates why, I mean, I don't think, that was 15 years ago, I understand, but I don't know that we're ever completely past it. It's still important to be able to be honest with those around you, with those you work with those in your family.
Yeah.
If there's something about yourself, it's not that you have to say it, but when you can't say it because there might be negative repercussions,
Right.
that tells me it's still an issue.
Yep.
So there's so many different angles from which we could address this, and we have just this limited little half-hour show to do. Your thoughts on personal significance of coming out, with family, with relatives, with coworkers, with in terms of your own personal growth. What is it important for people to understand about coming out?
I think one of the key things, if people aren't out, their self-esteem is greatly impacted.
And you won't get their best contribution.
You can't feel good about yourself if you have to hide such a major aspect of your life. So your self-esteem is going to be impacted. The quality and depth of your relationships are going to be impacted. If you can't be who you are, if you can't let people know such an important part of your life as who your partner is, or what those kind of very basic things of who you are, there's just a lot that's not going to happen, relationally, personally.
Well, and you're making yourself a time bomb that they have to step around.
Right.
Because there's certain things they can't tell you, and so they're always tiptoeing around you. And you're not giving them the freedom to be honest with you. Don't we want everyone to be honest with us?
I do.
I would think that would be a no-brainer, that of course we want people to be honest with us. Well, then give them the freedom to be honest with you. That means if they tell you something you don't like, don't flip out and make them feel bad for having said it.
Of course, I don't, there's these gray areas that I was talking with my partner about coming here, and we were talking about what are the times when you can really get a calm from this, from coming out. And we talked about some of
the drawbacks of...
Right. Well, and certainly we've both been on PFLAG Speaker Bureau for a long time, and we've talked to young people who have been kicked out of their homes. We have read accounts...
Which to most parents is unthinkable. Right. That a parent would actually throw their kids out on the street just for being gay or lesbian.
Yep.
Which might explain why 30% of teenage suicides in the U.S. are attributable to questions of orientation.
Yep.
I figure we can debate orientation forever, but we should at least begin by persuading these kids not to kill themselves.
Yeah, people need to be there for them when that kind of thing happens. The other thing is we've all read accounts in the paper of gay and lesbian couples who have lost their children for being out. Back in Virginia, back in the East Coast, there were particularly a few situations not too long ago where that happened. So it's, there's some areas where, it's
they talk about gay and lesbian people. The religious right talks about gay and lesbian people breaking up families and then steps in and rips gay and lesbian families apart.
Right.
Kind of the thing of pointing a finger, you have three more pointing back at you.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think coming out is a process. I began at one step and, worked my way up for over decades to other steps of it. And it's one that I think requires a lot of support and certain circumstances where people really do have to think about how and when they're doing that and with whom. So I don't think of it as a black or white thing.
And if you're on the receiving end of someone coming out to you, to understand that this is a risk-laden process, that they quite possibly don't feel comfortable because they are terrified of how you might respond, and perhaps the most loving thing you can do, not brushing it aside like it's a non-issue, oh, that's okay, but to say, no, really, I'm okay with this. And even if I'm not okay with this, I'm committed to having a friendship with you that allows you to be honest with me. That can be a big step for you, but if they can hear that, I'm committed to having a friendship with you that allows you to be honest with me, that tells them they can relax.
And that they get it.
And that they get
They
it.
really get it that this is
That this is a
something
big
that's a
step.
risk.
It's a risk. You know, and in that sense, it's also a compliment to you that they trusted you enough to even attempt the step.
Yeah. I have found too so much more, the more comfortable I am in just coming out with somebody, the more comfortable other people tend to be. When we had a son and going into schools, and we wanted to make sure that the school wasn't somewhere that was going to, he was going to be mistreated. So we, have a conversation right away when we were interviewing the folks at the school, and said, we're a lesbian family, and we just want to make sure there's not going to be any harassment here, and it's going to be allowable anyway. And there's that casual. It wasn't like, we have to tell you something, this is a big deal. But initially when I was coming out, I did have that kind of reaction. It's like that kind of anxiety. And I started a new job several years ago, and it was the first day at work, and we're all eating lunch together. I didn't know any of these people from Adam or Eve. And people said, so, do you have any plans this weekend? And I said, oh yeah, my partner and I are going to go up to the mountains, and, partner, and so first day at work, I'm out. And it's like, that was the most comfortable thing for me. I said it very comfortably, and the response was not a big deal. And
I think a lot of times people take the cues from us, that when we reach a point where we're comfortable with being who we are, that we can then make the statement without attitude and without apology. Neither a chip on my shoulder nor a hesitation in my voice. Just a simple statement of fact. And if I can be consistently honest with them from the beginning, relationships, working relationships, friendships, just people, acquaintances you meet on the street on a regular basis, they can relax and do what they need to do without stumbling over all these expectations about what one or the other things should be.